Ready to level up your author career? Join us at Author Nation in Las Vegas, November 11th through the 15th. Network with your fellow indie authors, learn from industry experts, and discover the tools to boost your writing business. Reserve your spot today at authornation.live. See you in Vegas.
All right, so YouTube for authors.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to dive into that today.
Right.
Using this article, we have 10 Tips for YouTube by Bre Lockhart.
Right.
And this was published in November of 2021.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it's not like ancient history.
Right.
But it stood the test of time, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a really great article that really breaks down
Uh-huh.
all the things that you need to think about if you're an author who is thinking about getting onto YouTube.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of authors think of YouTube as like a nice to have or an extra thing.
Right.
But it can be really, really powerful, especially if you do it well.
Right.
And I think what Lockhart does in the article is really give you like that step-by-step, like how to actually do it well, not just like, oh, you should have a YouTube channel.
Right, right. And how to make it like actually beneficial for you as an author.
Exactly.
Instead of just like this other thing that you have to do.
Yes, exactly.
Because you're not really sure why you're doing it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's great about this article.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I guess let's dive into it then with this first tip.
Okay.
Which is define your YouTube goal, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people, their gut reaction is, well, I want views, duh.
Right.
But Lockhart really wants people to think beyond that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these non-sales goals that she talks about.
Yeah, I think that's like a really important thing to keep in mind is that
You're not necessarily going to put up a video on YouTube and suddenly your book sales are through the roof.
Okay.
But there are other goals that can be really valuable for authors, right?
Yeah.
So, she talks about interacting with other authors, giving readers kind of a behind the scenes look at your writing process, talking about books you love, it's
like a video blog almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like a virtual book club kind of thing.
Right.
And so I think it's about playing the long game, right? It's about building community around your work.
Okay.
Becoming a recognizable voice.
Yeah, building that, and trust factor.
Exactly.
Yeah, when people are ready to buy a book, they're like, oh, yeah, that person.
Yeah, I know them.
I know them. I like them. I trust them. I like their stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all about, building that relationship, not just the immediate sale, which I think is hard.
Right.
Especially in today's, very instant gratification world,
Right.
But it's about playing that long game.
Yeah. And laying the foundation, right? You're not going to build a house by starting with the roof.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to start with the foundation.
Exactly.
And speaking of building, I like how she goes right into tip number 2 with the equipment question. Because I think, I know I do this and I see other people do it. It's
oh, yeah.
As soon as you're okay, I want to take this seriously. I want to try this YouTube thing, right? Let me buy all the things.
Yes. All the shiny new gadgets.
Yes.
I need a new camera.
The new laptop smell.
Oh, the new laptop smell.
You gotta get that new laptop.
Yeah, and the light ring and the microphone and the
microphone arm and
all the things.
The pop filter.
Yes. You gotta have the pop filter.
Gotta have it.
But Lockhart brings us back down to earth.
Yes.
With this tip, which is so important, and a lot of people need to hear this.
It's so true.
You can start simply.
Yes.
You don't need all the fancy equipment to get going.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good point that she makes is that not only is it potentially a waste of money if you go all out and buy all this fancy stuff right away.
Yeah, because what if you hate it, right?
Exactly. And then you're well, now I have this $2,000 camera.
Right.
And I've used it twice.
Right.
But it also it allows for that organic growth, right? You can start with your smartphone, which most people have a smartphone nowadays.
That has a really good camera.
Exactly. They have amazing cameras.
Yeah.
Honestly, better than a lot of the lower end cameras out there.
Right.
And you can start with that, or you can start with your laptop, whatever you have. And then as your channel grows, as you kind of figure out what your needs are,
right,
you can invest in more advanced gear later on, right?
Yeah, you don't have to go from 0 to 60
Exactly.
right out of the gate.
Exactly. You don't need the top of the line writing desk when you're first starting out as an author, right?
Right.
You start with like a notebook and a pen.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Because it's so true. It's like...
It's about like starting where you are.
Yeah, and it goes back to like not letting perfection be the enemy of good.
Yes. Exactly.
Right? Like just start.
Get started.
Get going, and then you can...
Exactly.
You can refine as you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that actually ties in perfectly with Lockhart's third tip.
Okay.
Which is create content that both you and your viewers will love.
Yes.
And this goes back to that authenticity, right?
Yes.
Have you ever like watched one of those sponsored ads?
Oh, absolutely.
Where you're just like, this person clearly doesn't care about...
They're reading a script. Yes.
100%.
And it's just like painful to watch.
Yeah, it's like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I get it. You're getting paid to say this.
Right.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lockhart, she really emphasizes that. When you are genuinely excited about something,
yes,
it shows.
It's contagious. Yeah.
And that's what keeps people engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the difference between like reading a textbook and like getting swept away by a really good novel.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you want people to feel that same kind of excitement and engagement.
Right. And not just like be talked at.
Exactly.
But to like feel like they're a part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So speaking of finding that inspiration.
Yeah. Lockhart's fourth tip is learn from others, but forge your own path.
Yes. I think this is such a key one.
Yeah.
Especially for authors who are, already trying to like figure out their voice and their platform. It's like, it's good to see what other people are doing, right? Like, don't be afraid to...
Yeah, like get inspiration.
Get inspiration, see what's working.
Yeah.
But like directly copying someone else is a recipe for disaster.
It's like going to the bookstore.
Yes.
Right? Like you can browse, you can see what covers shit your eye, what you're drawn to.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're going to pick the book that like...
speaks to you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the same with YouTube, you know?
Exactly. Don't be afraid to like, kind of see what's out there, but make it your own.
You do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of making it your own, I think that's a great transition into the next tip, which is all about that algorithm.
Okay, yes.
Yes, the YouTube algorithm.
Which can feel very mysterious and
very mysterious.
And scary and...
oh, yeah, intimidating. Like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
But I think Lockhart does a really good job of like breaking it down in a way that makes it feel less scary.
Okay.
And more like, okay, this is how it works.
Okay.
And this is what I can do to kind of...
to like work with it.
Work with it, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Because at the end of the day, it's just a, computer program. It's just trying
to do its job.
Yeah, to connect viewers with the content that they want to see.
Okay.
So if you can kind of...
so it's like a matchmaker almost.
Exactly.
For videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like think of it like a first date.
Okay.
Right? First impressions matter.
Okay.
Which leads us perfectly into the next tip, which is about professionalism.
Okay. So when I think professionalism, I think like stuffy suit and tie. Like
boardroom.
Yeah, exactly, like boardroom. Like
yeah, not fun.
Yeah, not fun.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
Right? Like we're not saying you have to wear a suit and tie to film your YouTube videos.
Right.
But it's about like creating a viewing experience that is free from distractions, right? So like think about it like, would you want to watch a video where the background is really messy? There's like a lot of noise going on.
Right.
The lighting is bad. Like it's
although I will say, if a cat walks across the background, like all bets are off.
Okay. That's fair.
That's acceptable.
We'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, but I think, it's about creating an environment where like your content can shine through.
Right. It's about respecting the viewers' time.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're giving you
like their attention.
Yes. So make it worth their while.
Make it a good experience for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, I think, goes right into
it does.
Tip number 7, which is use a script or outline.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because, again, respecting your time as the creator.
Absolutely.
I will fully admit that I used to be the queen of rambling when it came to making videos.
Okay.
And I would just like turn on the camera and just go, ooh.
Yeah.
And then I'd get into the editing room and be like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like trying to make sense of it all.
Yes.
And it was just like a nightmare.
So much extra work.
It was so much extra work.
Yeah.
And so Lockhart's advice on using a script or an outline, even if it's just like bullet points.
Yeah, just like a general framework.
Yeah, it's just a framework. Like, it was a game changer for me.
Oh, I bet. I can imagine.
Once I started doing that, it was like night and day.
It makes the editing process so much smoother, too. So much smoother.
Yeah.
And it keeps you on track.
On track, because it's so easy to go off on tangents.
Oh, it is.
Especially if you're somebody who, like, you know, is a creative person. You're like, ooh, but wait.
Ooh, shiny thing.
Ooh, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And then you're like, 20 minutes later, you're like,
where am I?
How did I get here?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So having that outline can really help you, like, stay focused.
Stay focused and keep the video concise and
exactly.
And, you know,
watchable,
which is important. We want people to watch our videos.
Right. We want them to actually get to the end.
Exactly. Yeah. And deliver that value.
Yes. Deliver the goods. Deliver the goods.
Yes, exactly. So speaking of which, I love how Lockhart's 8th tip kind of goes right along with this whole, like, don't be afraid to experiment, right?
Yes.
Because you don't really know what's going to work.
Exactly.
Until you try it. You got to try it. And even the things that don't work, like, you learn from.
Right. You learn from your failures.
You learn from your failures. Exactly.
Which, you know, I think is a good point, too, because, like, sometimes, you know, you might try something. You're like, oh, this could be great. I'm so excited about this. And then it
tanks.
It totally tanks.
It's like, what happened?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of the process.
It's all part of the process, right?
Yeah. Like, if you're not trying new things, then are you really growing? Right.
Exactly. You got to put yourself out
there. You got to put yourself out there. And sometimes, you know, you're going to stumble.
You got to break some eggs.
Yeah.
You know, to make an omelet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they say, right?
That's what they say.
Yeah. So.
And that kind of, I guess, goes along with this 9th tip that we have here, which is all about consistency. Yeah. And that, I think, that word, like, it can be intimidating. It can be a little scary even.
Especially when you're first starting out. You know, it's like.
Yes, because it's like, how
often should I be posting?
Yes, exactly. And then you're comparing yourself to, like.
Right. All these other people
who
are killing it. Yeah. And you're like, well, I can't possibly do that.
Right.
But it's not about that.
It's not about that. It's about, like, finding your rhythm.
Exactly.
Right. Find what works for you.
And being consistent with that.
Yes.
Whatever that looks like for you. Because I will say.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really appreciate about, like, the creators that I follow is that I know what to expect.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
It's like that bookstore.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that, you know, like, they're going to be open.
Yeah, they're going to be open on Tuesdays.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, they're not going to, like.
From this time to this time.
They're not going to be closed randomly.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like.
I know they're going to.
I can rely on them.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's what you're.
Yeah, that's what you want to create with your audience.
Yeah, that trust. Yeah.
Reliability, that trust.
Yes, exactly.
So that they know.
So they know what to expect.
That when they come to your channel, like.
Yeah, they're going to get.
There's going to be something there for them.
They're going to get value. They're going to be entertained.
Yeah, it's not going to be like a ghost town.
It's not going to be a dead end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess leading right along with that, right, is this idea of realistic expectations for growth.
Yes.
Right. Because you're not going to
become a
viral sensation overnight, probably.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it happens.
It happens. It does happen.
It does happen, but it's not
the norm.
It's not the norm.
It's not the norm, right.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind as we're.
You're not going to be at 1 million subscribers.
Yes.
A week after you start.
A week after you start, right? Like
it's a marathon.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Exactly.
And we talked about that earlier.
We did.
And so
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It is. It really is. Yeah. And it's about celebrating those little milestones along the way, right?
The little wins, yeah.
The little wins, yes.
Celebrate those.
Because if you're only focused on, like, the big picture, you're going to miss all those.
Exactly. You're going to get burned out.
You're going to get burned out.
You're going to be like, what am I doing? This is not worth it.
Yeah. But it's about, you know, enjoying the journey.
Enjoying the journey.
Celebrating the small wins, like you said, those little milestones, like getting a new subscriber, getting a comment from somebody. Yeah. Those are all like little signs that you're making progress.
They're connecting.
Yeah, exactly.
People are resonating with what you're putting out there.
Yeah, you're making a difference.
So, yeah, I think that's
a good reminder.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in
the numbers.
The numbers, yeah. And then you're like, oh, I only have 10 subscribers.
Right, exactly. But it's like...
But those 10 subscribers are there for you.
Those 10 subscribers are like...
They're your people.
They're your people.
Yeah.
They're your tribe.
Yes. And so, like, celebrate that, right?
Exactly. Celebrate those people, yeah.
And, it is a journey.
It is.
And it can be a really fun one if you let it be, right?
Yes, exactly. Like, don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, because at the end of the day... Like, yes, we want it to be, we want people to watch our videos.
Of course.
We want people to find them valuable.
Right.
But we also want to... Have fun.
Yes.
Yes. Like, if you're not having fun...
It's going to show.
It's going to show.
It's going to show.
And people are going to be able to tell. Like,
they'll be like, this person seems miserable.
Yes, exactly.
Why am I watching them?
Right. Like, why are you doing this if you seem so miserable?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, have fun.
Have fun.
That's the most important thing, I think.
I think so, too. Because, especially when you're talking about, like, creative endeavors and things like that.
Exactly. It's supposed to be...
It should be fun.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, it should be enjoyable.
Right.
If it's not...
Yeah, if it's feeling like a chore...
Yeah, then what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Reevaluate.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for diving into Bre Lockhart's 10 tips for YouTube with me.
Absolutely. It's a great article.
It is a great article, and I think it gives everyone, like, really good foundation, and like we were talking about.
Yes.
You got to start with the foundation.
Exactly.
So, can't build a house without it?
Can't build a house without it, exactly.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, get out there.
Yeah.
Go forth.
Have fun.
Make some awesome YouTube videos.
Yes, make some awesome YouTube videos, and let us know how it goes.
Yeah, we'd love to see them.
Yeah, we'd love to see them.
Tag us.
Let
us know.
We're excited to see what you come up with.
Absolutely.
All right, until next time.
See you later.